All right. Hey, how's everybody doing? Wow. Filling up pretty good here on a Monday fun day. Hey, can you guys hear me? See me okay? Just type in the chat. Everything looks good. Can see me? You can, yes. Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hope you're all doing well on this beautiful day. It is just amazing weather here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't know where you are necessarily, but in Southwest Ohio, it's 80 degrees, which on November 9th is absolutely ridiculous. Miami, stay safe down there. I was supposed to be in Miami Beach this week with my 3 older daughters, and I had to cancel the trip because of Hurricane Ada. So stay safe down there, South Florida. San Francisco, good to see everybody. We're going to get started in just a minute. Well, let me just give you an overview. If you've ever been to any of my webinars, and I'm not really, Johnny webinar guy that does these things every day. I only do them when I feel like we need one, and I just want to kind of do a basic overview of what podcasting is. I don't have this big sales pitch, I don't have these, neuro-linguistic programming things going on to get you to buy something. I always make an offer to allow me to build your podcast for you when you're ready to go. I mean, that's my offer. That's always going to be my offer. That never changes. But today, it's been my goal more than ever to get you to have a successful podcast, because I just see the power in it, and I just believe so much. And you can probably hear it in my voice all the time if you listen to my podcast, and you definitely hear it in my voice, because I believe everybody should have a podcast, because it's so easy to record audio. It's so simple to edit it. So I kind of want to break any kind of myths or any challenges that people have. And feel free, type in the chat any questions you have. I'll get to them when I get to them. I won't be getting to them in real time, but I promise you that I will address each and every question that you type in there, okay, before we're done today. How long will we go? As long as it takes to cover what a podcast is, how it's put together, simple ways to market it, and how to make money with it, I think would be probably a really good thing to cover as well. If you would agree with that. Let me just set something up here as well too. Bear with me 1 second. And if you already kind of have a passion for podcasting, and there's definitely a question that you want answered before we're done, type it in right now. Just type it in right now. If there's something that you definitely want to have answered. Okay. All right. So let's go. Let's rock and roll. We're going to start with what is a podcast. So let me share my screen. Let me just ask, I'm always going to ask kind of trust checkers here. I just want to make sure, let me know you can see my screen. All right. Yes, no, yes. Type it in the text chat. Can you see my screen so I can make sure that you guys can see it? Yes. Cool. All right, good. All right, great. All right, guys. So I don't want to get you already probably know who I am and what I do. And again, I'm not just good. This is not a webinar that you always attend. This is totally cool, chill, simple, basic. I've been podcasting for the better part of 15 years. I launched my podcast just because, as an ex-stutterer, I just wanted to prove to myself that I could talk. I mean, I wish it was more complicated than that. I just wanted to be able to talk. So when I began talking, I found that other people listen, and they kind of caught that vibe. So I'm like, oh, well, cool. Okay. Then why don't I keep doing that? So when you look at iTunes, for example, so I just launched my podcast because I just wanted to just have a show where, I can talk. So this is kind of the homepage of iTunes. When you get on iTunes, you leave the internet. Okay. You are no longer in Google and Yahoo and Bing and all that. And you can see iTunes promotes what they believe are the more popular topics right now. And then you've got your simple categories in here. You've got news, comedy, society and culture, and so on, business, true crime. You can expand these. These are all the different categories. So how are people going to find your podcast? And so I want to give you an overview of what this is, and then I'll show you kind of how it's put together. All right. So I'll show you the main course, and then we'll go back inside the kitchen, and I'll show you how everything is prepared. All right. If you take a look at these different categories, you click on business, for example, this would be where you would find my show. And by the way, of all the categories, there most likely will not be a perfect category inside of iTunes. And one other thing, why am I focused right now on iTunes? Why not all these other platforms? Well, it's the 80-20 rule. I've always lived by the 80-20 rule. I get 80% of my downloads from 20% of where I put my content. And I would probably even say it's 90-10. Certainly you've got Spotify right here. There's my podcast on Spotify. You have other sites like, let me just see here. You've got iHeartRadio. That's iHeartRadio right here. And these are all free to be on. There's no charge. That's another thing. The real awesomeness about podcasting, there's no charge to be on any of these platforms. So whether it's iHeartRadio, let me click out of there, whether it's Spotify or whether it's iTunes, you upload your podcast through your website. This is my back office of my admin panel of my WordPress site. This is everydaysaturday.com. Every day I upload a blog post and I just simply attach an audio to it. That's all I do every day. And if you know me, you know I podcast in my car on my phone. So I've got my iPhone. I put a little microphone on the end of this, and I'll show you which one that is if you're interested. And I just podcast. And that's why I call it the story-driven podcasting method, okay? But as you get back into here, when you take a look at business, for example, there's categories inside of this particular category. So you've got all these different ones: marketing, careers, investing, management, entrepreneurship, nonprofit. Mine would be probably best categorized under entrepreneurship. So you've got Tim Ferriss, Gary Vee, Rachel Hollis, Dave Ramsey, and all of these people. The lady from Shark Tank, Barbara Corcoran, and there's my show right there. All right, every day is Saturday. Now, another thing about podcasting, okay, your podcast is kind of set up like a website. What I mean by that is you have your artwork here, your cover art. And by the way, you only upload the cover art and all this stuff one time. Okay, one time is the setup. Each individual episode, that's done through that WordPress site, this here that I showed you. Okay, so the only thing you do when you create a podcast is you just create a post and you attach an audio to it. That's it. Oh, geez, I almost forgot my big offer. Hold on. I'm supposed to make this big offer to you, and that is this. Would you like me to personally teach you the strange method I've used to create one of the top motivational podcasts on the planet with over 20 million downloads? The answer is yes. I'll do it all for you. Okay. Just go to launchwithsam.com. Would you believe how good of a marketer am I? I didn't even know. Launchwithsam.com. That's me. There's a video. You don't got to do the application. Everybody else that's not on this goes through an application process or anything like that. Not you. Just schedule a call right there. Launchwithsam.com. Put you on my calendar. And I will call you and we'll get started. All right. And I'll do all of this for you. So when you get back to the actual title of the podcast, see how it's titled Motivation and Inspiration right there, from Every Day is Saturday with Sam Crowley. That's because people are going to find your podcast by searching over here, this search button. And it's different if it's on your phone and over here, different places you can search. There's only one search function in iTunes. It's just in a different place if it's on your phone versus I'm on a computer. All right. So if I type in inspiration, I want to find something to inspire me. Here are all the top podcasts. So there's mine, number 6 or so. Okay. And it'll vary between 1, 5, 10. Once you're up towards the top in iTunes, very difficult to ever leave that position unless you just abandon your show. So one of the things I want you to do when you get some time, go in iTunes and start searching in this search bar right here for keywords that you think people would find you for. All right. And that's how you want to title your podcast. So you notice it says motivation, inspiration. If you type motivation into the search bar, you're going to find the same thing. My show might be 6, 8, 4. It always floats around in there. But if you're wondering, how do people find a podcast? That's one of the top questions I get. That's how they search iTunes. And the reason I'm only focused on iTunes is, like I said, it's the 80-20 rule. It's because most of my downloads, this is my podcast hosting service called Blueberry. And over the past few years, because I had to reset my numbers, close to 9 million downloads. And of those 9 million downloads, you'll see where, let me get into platforms here. See that iOS, iPhone, iPad? 80%. It's the 80-20 rule. So I'm getting 80% of my downloads simply from the iPhone. All right. About 8% come from Android. All right. Now, Android could be Spotify, Stitcher Radio. If you don't have an iPhone, then you're going to listen on an Android. You're probably going to listen through one of those. And that would be under here. As you take a look at the full list, see, let me get this no description available thing keeps popping up there. Oh, well, that's just going to be there. iPhone again, big up there. But you get down here and you see Chrome and Windows and Spotify's down here and Stitcher Radio and all of these things. You see so many people, look at that. Spotify has only accounted for, and this is recent, this is probably just in 2020, by the way, 3,000 downloads of my show. Okay, we're talking about this year alone, I probably have 2 million downloads and only 3,000 come from Spotify. So I know we see names like Joe Rogan, you know, got $1 million advance for his show and all that. And Spotify is becoming a big player in this, in the podcasting, but not for me. It's not, you know, not for me. And it's a music streaming service. It still really hasn't made its way into podcasting per se. All right. So let me just, all right, cool. So everybody with me so far? Everybody, I'm trying to give you kind of a basic concept and a basic understanding of what a podcast is, how it's put together, where people are going to find your podcast and things like that. I just want to, you know, this is so simple, guys. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. You'll see a lot of podcasts. Maybe you've looked, maybe you've gone on YouTube, or maybe you've gone on another webinar where they dive deep into the tech, and you got to be everywhere. You don't got to be everywhere. You don't got to be everywhere. I mean, look, it's on iTunes. It's on iTunes. You're going to get 80% of your downloads. If you were only on iTunes, you'd be fine. Okay. Don't fall into the trap like everybody else does, that you got to get this audio in every little nook and cranny of the internet. When you got time, when you do it, yeah, sure, do it. I'm not saying not to. Hey, even 100 downloads is 100 downloads you wouldn't have had. But let's please keep the main thing the main thing. Okay. So this is where you're going to get a boatload of your downloads. And this is really the main components. It's going to be your album art. It's going to be your description right here, which really doesn't account to a whole hill of beans. It's really important to have people give ratings to your show, and you're going to get some hate. You know, I tune in every day, fake and hateful man. I don't know who to write that, but I can charge this, I can charge that. Somebody didn't like, I guess, that I was talking about how to sell coaching. But here's the one thing we do, irrelevant rambling. Here's the one thing we do as a society. All right. And this is something that you need to hear regardless of what you ever end up doing in life. Isn't it funny how I'll get what, 900 reviews, and we'll get one person who says he's a hateful man. What do you think we're going to focus on? We're going to focus on that one negative review. Just don't do that. That has no bearing on you. They're having a bad day. Obviously, there's something happened in their life that has caused them to lash out, but that's not on you. You keep your message, and you keep whatever it is that you're doing, and keep doing it the way you want to do it, because you know in your heart of hearts you're doing it the right way. So that's kind of a mindset thing. I just want you to understand up here, whenever you put yourself out there, you're going to open yourself up to criticism. And I did a Facebook Live Saturday, all right, and I said they don't boo nobodies. And that was Reggie Jackson. He used to play for the Oakland A's, the New York Yankees. And they used to ask Reggie Jackson all the time, doesn't it bother you when they boo you, you know? And even at home, they boo you. He said, hey, they don't boo nobodies, you know? So understand, they don't boo nobody. So when you get a 1-star rating on your podcast, understand you've arrived, okay? So I just want to throw that out there to you. So now that you got kind of a feel for how people are going to find your podcast, you've got your audio, you've got your description. How long should your podcast be? Well, when you go back to these podcasts here, you'll see there are a ton of different ideas that you can do. You can do an interview. Tim Ferriss does a ton of interviews. His are also very long podcast episodes. I mean, if you take a look, I'm just going to click on Tim's right here. I mean, these shows can go, look at that, an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and 17 minutes, an hour and 45, 2 hours. Okay. But how often does he do them? I don't know. It looks like he's doing a lot more now than he ever used to do. So there's no wrong answer. Okay. And it gets really an A-list of guests as well. You can see he's got Scott Kelly, the astronaut, Matthew McConaughey, Seth Godin. So he gets some really great guests. And here you go, 2-star rating. Ads are way too long. That's the one thing I would say about a Tim Ferriss podcast. You're 5 minutes in before you're getting any content, because it's all advertisers and sponsors. Okay. But you can do a show like I do. You can do 8 to 10 minutes a day. You can do 1 minute. You know, there's, let me just see, John Maxwell. Let me just see if he's up here. John Maxwell. Take a look. A minute with Maxwell. 2 minutes long, 2 minutes long, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Probably a minute of it is an intro, you know? So look at this, 4.5 stars. you set the expectation, always full of wisdom. My God, 1 minute and he's full of wisdom. Hey, it's the expectation you set. So don't confuse that you got to have a show that's 30 minutes long. You could have a show that's a minute. You can make it a motivational minute. You can make it a marketing minute. You can go 8, 10, 12. The average podcast listener will listen between 18 to 22 minutes before they got to go do something else. Okay. And when I first got started, I did a little bit of research and found that 95% of Americans here where I live in the USA, they commute 30 minutes or less to their job. So I wanted to keep my show less than 30 minutes because my target market, which is very important for your podcast, is that corporate slave that I was marketing to, people that want to make every day Saturday, not make every day Monday. So how long should your show be? That's up to you. Should it be an interview? If you want to do an interview, you can. How do you do an interview? Well, you can have a Zoom call just like this. You guys have been on Zoom. Zoom saves the recording as an audio. All you got to do is just take that audio and put it out there. That's it. That's an interview. You can interview somebody all the way across the other end of the world from where you live. You can simply speak into this microphone. This is a blue snowball. Let me just show you. If you take a look at microphones, probably one of the more popular ones is a Yeti right there. You'll spend about $100, $130 on a Yeti. Plugs into your computer through a USB. Very simple to do. The one that I've just showed you is a blue snowball. I use these for webinars, $50 right there. So you can use that, fine. You see that's got the part where you talk into right there. The Yeti has, the difference is in the Yeti right here, you got a microphone that goes 360, so you don't necessarily have to speak directly into the microphone. But again, I think the equipment, people get caught up in this stuff here. Look at this. I mean, buying the big boom arm and you buy this and you got that and you're out $500 and you buy a mixer. And why would you ever do that? Why would you ever spend a ton of money on podcasting equipment before you even record your first episode? You don't even know if you want to do this full time, and you don't even know if anybody's going to listen. Now they are, because once you upload your show, iTunes is going to start sending traffic right away. See, that's the real beauty, by the way. First of all, let me just finish that thought. Don't go broke on buying a microphone and equipment like a lot of other people do. Just get something that doesn't sound like you're talking into the built-in mic. $50, perfect. Okay. But as soon as you upload your podcast to your website, like I showed you right here, then you're off and running. And this is organic traffic, guys. iTunes is showing your podcast to everybody all around the world. I mean, you're getting downloads. You put it on your social media, people start downloading. So when I talk about, in a minute, we're going to talk about how to make money with your podcast. You got to understand, you're not making any money until you get people listening to your show. I think that's pretty academic, right? And you're also not going to make any money unless your call to action is really congruent with what it is that you're talking about. Case in point, my call to action is always this. Want me to personally teach you the method I've used to create one of the top motivational podcasts on the planet with over 20 million downloads? Get on my calendar, launchwithsam.com right there, and I will do it for you. I'll do it all for you. If you're interested, go there, launchwithsam.com. That's my call to action. So let me take you back to the podcast, okay? If I've got a podcast on iTunes with, let me just show you here. And this is why I do it. And people are always like, geez, why do you do a podcast every day? And I'm thinking, gee, I didn't think maybe I'm not thinking hard enough. Like maybe I'm not smart enough, okay? But here, if every single one of these episodes right here, I mention twice every time to go to launchwithsam.com and book a call, okay? So if I mention, and it's very casual. It's not like, go to Launch with Sam and say, hey guys, if you're interested in working together one-on-one and gaining 100% clarity on your message, make sure you go to launchwithsam.com and let's jump on a call. I know I can help you, and I've got a coaching program for everybody. That's it. Just be ready to go. That's it. So let's get into today's podcast. So that's it. And then at the end, towards the end, I make the same call to action. Hey, just a reminder, when you're ready to launch, get on my calendar. I will do it all for you, and you will have 100% clarity on your message. That's it. Very casual. 5 seconds. 5 seconds at the beginning, 5 seconds at the end. I bought a domain name for $10, launchwithsam.com. It redirects here, everydaysaturday.com/calendar. So Launch with Sam is not a website. That's just a domain name I bought that redirects. And this is everything that I do for you, the client, when we work together. So you don't have to do anything. You just got to talk. So let's talk about that. This is Audacity. Audacity is an open office software that works on Windows, and a Mac. Okay. Your entire goal here, guys, is only to create an MP3 file. You just got to create an audio file. That's all you got to do. An MP3 file every time you create a podcast. So Audacity, you download it to your computer for free. There's no charge. Just go to Google and type in Audacity. It'll be the first thing that comes up. Download it, whether you got Windows or Mac, follow the prompt, and you're off and running, and your microphone is already into your computer. And it's just like, hey, everybody, welcome to the Everyday Saturday podcast. It is so amazing to have you here. We have a great show planned for you today. Okay. That's it. Everybody, welcome to the Everyday Saturday podcast. It is so amazing to have you here. We have a great show planned for you today. Can you do that? Can you do what I just did? Of course you can. You can do it better than I do. Like I said, my whole goal when I started was just to talk without a stutter, you know? And I was in the middle of a bankruptcy. I had all of this negative, toxic stuff going on in my head. I just wanted to get a message out, you know? But repetition decreases resistance. And when you continue to do it over and over, you gain so much clarity on who you are and who you're talking to. That message is 8 seconds long, but soon that'll be 8 minutes long, and you'll be doing what I do. So you may be asking, why do I podcast in a car? Well, the main reason I podcast in my car is because one of the barriers that was in my way was I always had to be here in front of my computer if I wanted to record a podcast. And I've got 4 kids, all right? And at one time I had 3 kids under the age of 5. Do you have kids? You know how loud it is in a home that has kids, all girls under the age of 5? And you don't want to be yelling, hey, keep it down, dad's talk, you know? So I'm like, hey, I've got to get out of the house to podcast. So that's when I discovered the microphone that I use that plugs into my phone. And I go in my car and I go grab a coffee. And while I'm having a coffee, I record an 8 to 10 minute podcast about something inspiring that has to do with finding clarity around your message. And that's it. Simple as that. And like I showed you, I just upload it and people listen. I mean, how many people listen? Geez, I mean, look at these statistics. 212 million people in this year are familiar with podcasting. When I first got started way back here, that was only 22% of the population. Now it's 75%. I mean, podcasting has just exploded. And so you take a look at percent that have ever listened to a podcast, from 11% of the population here in the US to 55%. By the way, this is Edison Research from their Infinite Dial presentation just this year. You can see down here, 2020. Guys, if you don't have a podcast, you are missing out on on the biggest audience, I believe, because here's another thing. As I put in the email today that I sent out to everybody, less than 18% of the podcasts on iTunes have been updated in the last 90 days. Let me say that again in another way. 82% of the podcasts that are on iTunes right now are dead. It's like an audio desert wasteland. It's just right for somebody like you to come in with a fresh face, a fresh message, and go gangbusters with it and get a ton of downloads when you commit to it, okay? This is the percent that have listened to a podcast in the last month, 104 million people. Again, this is just in the United States. This isn't, if you live in another country, I mean, these numbers are global, because your podcast, once it goes live, it's not just in the US, it's all over the world on every single platform. It's not just in your country, it's everywhere. So men and women are about the same when you take a look at that. This is the age demographic. So most of your people listening, but again, the fastest growing is 55 and over. But most of the people are going to be in this real sweetheart demographic of 35 to 54, and right here, 12 to 34. Men and women are about the same. And I'm about done with these stats, but this is to show you just how incredibly powerful this is. Monthly podcast listeners by age, once again. Ethnicity right there. That'll give you a feel for how it's broken down along African American, white, Hispanic, Asian, and other. Yeah, guys, just in the last week, 68 million people have listened to a podcast. So are you starting to see how powerful? The average time is almost 7 hours now. It's amazing. People are spending 7 hours a week of their time listening to a podcast, and they'll listen to about 4 or 5. 6 to 10, look at that, 18%, 6 to 10, 4, 5, 3. So just between 3 and this number here, 3 to 10, I mean, that's crazy. That's 38, 19, 47, almost 50%. 6 podcasts. The average person listens to 6 podcasts in the past week. So can you see, are you starting to see that you can do this? I mean, this isn't any big deal. I'm doing it every day because I really feel like I'm wondering if I'm living in this alternative world where, am I the only one that knows about this? I mean, of course, your famous people are going to have a podcast because it's just another arm of their marketing. But what about the not so famous person like yourself? What about somebody who may not have this rabid following? Do you really want to spend money on Facebook ads, thousands of dollars a week, just to try to get somebody who's a cold lead that doesn't know you? Podcast traffic. Oh my God, I got a slide. Hold on one second. I've got a slide to show you. 3 slides to show you. Look at this. This is what I just showed you. Whoops. Income. Podcast listeners are 32% more likely to have 75 grand a month or 75 grand a year of annual income. 37% more likely to make 100 grand and 45% more likely to have $250,000 in annual income. So if you have anything to sell, to market, this is why I have a call to action for my coaching program, because I know my listeners have money. And when they're ready to go and they're ready to get that message out there, that's why they connect with me, because the loyalty is off the hook. This is the most loyal listener, more than YouTube, more than Facebook, more than any place that you'll find. Okay. They're 45% more likely to have a college degree, 50% more likely to be undergrads, and 68% more likely to be postgraduates. So they're educated, they're affluent, and they're very loyal, like super duper loyal. Okay. Do I have your attention yet for the really coolness of podcasting? All right. Are you excited? Do you think like yeah, I could do this, I could do, is there any, let me just stop right now. Any questions from anybody? I mean, is there anything you're looking at right now and you're thinking, you know what? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Or you can just say, hey, I'm amazed, man. This is unbelievable. Or if you're asleep, just type Z all the way across the keyboard. So at least I know you're sleeping. So what's going on? So far, so good. Is the chat open? We got chatties. We got chatters. Great. Got it. Okay. Nikki P. Cool stuff to know. Very good, Lisa. Thank you so much. So far, so good. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So where do we go from here? Well, the next step is to just create your audio, guys, like right here. And you can put some intro music in here. You can put some extra music in here. Not a hard thing to do as well. So the component of a podcast would be, you got your audio, you put some intro music at the beginning, you put some extra music at the end. You can get that done at any royalty-free music site. You're good to go. You just export this thing and you put it on your website and you're off and running. You only submit it to iTunes and Spotify and these other places one time, So we've talked about how to create it. We certainly saw that the market exists. We don't need to go over that again. We showed you how people will find your show on iTunes. We talked about how to make money. So this is my last slide, kind of, is the make money thing. Natalie, I'm furiously working and listening. I love it. So here's the thing. Your call to action, CTA. You'll hear me talk a lot about that. Let me share this one. Let me just share this one. This is 1 minute. I just posted this in our group, but there's so much more to this story. Hold on one second.
Since I've taken this podcasting course, I now have
this is Luke
here, and I just want to give a big shout out to Sam Crowley and his podcasting course. Since I've taken this podcasting course, I now have the #1 wholesaling podcast, real estate wholesaling podcast on iTunes now, called the School of Wholesaling. And thank you so much, Sam. Before your podcasting course, I didn't even have anything together. I didn't have my message together. I didn't have my story together, and I didn't have a podcast, and I just didn't know how to get myself out there. I knew I just wanted to serve others, and I knew I wanted to take my knowledge to do so. And Sam, you helped me put it all together. Even the name, School of Wholesaling, we thought of that together. So thank you so much. I have tremendously enjoyed your podcasting course, and I recommend it to anybody else. As a matter of fact, at the 30th day of your course, I closed over $27,000 in coaching sales as a coach inside the School of Wholesaling, which is now an academy. So thank you so much, Sam, and thank you so much for your podcasting course. I recommend it to anyone. Don't hesitate, take massive action, and much success to you.
All right. So how did Luke make that kind of money? 30 grand in the first month. Well, this funnel right here, if you're a coach, consultant, is there anybody on here right now? You can just type yes if you have an interest in coaching people or consulting or anything like that, because this is a no-brainer. I mean, this is exactly how you would make money with a podcast. Okay. So follow my lead. Okay. I look a little bit heavier in the face right there, I think, huh? Those of you that have been following, I'm on week 9 of the new nutrition program, down 22 pounds. But more importantly, my wife and I are doing this together. So if you really want a solid marriage, if you want a solid partnership and a relationship, do stuff like that with your spouse. I wasn't smart enough to figure that out until I was 52 years old. So my wife and I are very close now as a result of closer, I should say. We're always close, but we've been doing this nutrition thing together. And I think a healthy marriage, you should really do that kind of stuff together. Anyway, so, all right. So you've been certified as a coach, Rick, and everybody. Okay, cool. Listen, here's the deal. This video is in my kitchen, and I shot it on this phone right here, an iPhone. I just use a little tripod. I put it on my counter. It's hosted on Vimeo, not on, you could very easily use YouTube. This is a very, very simple page with a calendar and a video. And the call to action in the calendar, now watch this, okay? This is how Luke made 30 grand in his first month. The call to action has to be congruent with what your podcast is about. So you just simply weave in, when you're talking, components about what it is. For example, me, I'm always talking about the power of your message, your $1 million message and things like that. So naturally, my call to action is, when you're ready to create that $1 million message, get on my calendar so I can help you do it. That's it. Whatever if you're in the weight loss niche, the coaching niche, the business niche, holistic healing, whatever it is, this funnel is you can just replicate it. All right. Now you gotta be clear. All right. You really gotta be clear. And this is where most people struggle. They're like, I don't know what I do. I don't know how to say what it is that I do. You ever had that problem? Like, I know what I do, but I don't know how to tell other people what it is that I do, you know? And that's really the secret sauce. When Luke understood what he helped other people do, which was wholesale real estate, but he didn't quite know how to say it and how to frame it. That's why we worked together. And within 30 days, we really had a dynamite frame to put out there. Then he was just off to the races, selling coaching for 3, 5, 7 grand a pop. And that was it. That's all he had to do. And it wasn't like he was getting tens and thousands of downloads. He probably was in the hundreds of downloads at the time. That's it. So, don't get caught up in, I need 1 million downloads. You only need a handful, because when you're saying the right thing to the right person, it's not like it's going to go over their head. They're going to get on your calendar. They're going to book a call with you, and you're going to sell them coaching. Or you can send them, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but you can certainly send them to a place where they can download a free ebook or a lead magnet or something like that. But why do that? If they're ready to have their problem solved, why would you make them jump through one more hoop? Just get on the calendar and solve the problem right away. And people ask me all the time, well, aren't you exchanging hours for dollars, Sam? Like, yeah, but I enjoy what I do. I really, really like what I do. And when you get results, would you rather be a multimillionaire that didn't get results, or would you rather be somebody that gets results and you're totally cool with that purpose that you have in life? And I'm not apologizing for what I charge or anything like that, but I'm just saying, we've been told and we've been sold in this world, in the flesh, that money is the driver of everything. Like, that is how we keep score. I don't buy that at all. I think that's a very worldly view. I am not about that view. I don't apologize for what I charge, but I am certainly not about living in that world of the flesh where we are measured by the car we drive and the house we live in. I mean, how many yachts can you water ski behind? If you have a purpose-driven business and your goal is to exchange value with people and your goal is to help people, the right people will show up on your calendar. And that's really it. That's it. That's it. I mean, that's everything right there, because so many people are like, well, geez, I need, no, you don't. You don't need all that stuff. You need to have a purpose-driven business where you can lay your head down at night and say, I feel amazing. I made a few bucks today. I helped a ton of people. I'm getting my message out there. Have you ever lived in a time where you felt like your message, it's more important now? How many of you feel like it's more important right now than ever that the message you've got inside gets out there? I do. I feel that way. I feel like it's more important than ever right now for people to understand that every day can be Saturday. I really do. So anyway, I want to encourage you to launch your podcast. This is very simple. All right. Record your audio, submit your show to iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff, and make it a habit to get your show launched now. Don't wait. Don't do what a lot of people do. And they're like, oh, I'll get to it. No, get to it when? When would you get to it? I just show how simple this all is. All right. You create an audio, you upload it to a WordPress site as a blog post, and you attach that audio to the post, and you're good to go. And all of a sudden now it's organically sent out to all of these different platforms where you're getting hundreds and then thousands of people consuming it. And you have your call to action on that same audio. Why would you ever wait? There's no reason to wait. Waiting, the time's going to pass anyway. You're going to be like that, these other individuals that are like, oh, next spring. Well, what's next spring going to mean? I don't understand what that. Why wouldn't you just do it? Why not right now? So in the next 2 weeks, your show's live, you're getting tons of downloads, and you're selling your products and services from those downloads. So I want to work with you. I make no bones about it. I want to do this for you, and I want to show you how to do it the right way. And I want to set it up for you and coach you on how to explode your $1 million message using the power of podcasting. So go to my calendar, launchwithsam.com, book a time. You don't have to fill out the application, just book the time. I will call you from my cell phone and we'll get started. All right. Now is the best time to get your message out there. All right. I hope to hear from you. Go to launchwithsam.com, book your call. And if you have any questions or anything, I'm always inside our Facebook group. A lot of you are probably inside there already. I think everybody on this webinar is inside our Facebook group. So just don't let any more time pass just because you think there's some sort of like secret, mythical, complicated way to do a podcast. There isn't. The only thing standing in the way of your show being on iTunes is you. That's it. It's just you. And that story you've been telling yourself on why right now wouldn't be a good time. Now is the best time because there's only 18% of the podcast that have even been updated in the last 90 days. All right. I hope to see you on my calendar. You guys have an amazing rest of your day and get your message out there. Your audience is waiting for you. All right. All right. Take care, guys. Thank you.